Hi there, Sherry Schreiber of GettingBetter.com. And I haven't posted a video in a little while, and today I recognized that I was kind of jonesing for it. You know, I really wanted to make contact with y'all. And so rather than doing my usual heavy video, my naked truth, although the one I'm about to do for you is naked truth, but it's on an entirely different plane. And it has to do with all you gals out there who can't get fullness in your hair. Now, I have naturally wavy hair, and I just brushed mine out because I'm getting ready to shampoo it. But this is the volume I get, okay? When I brush through my hair, I flip upside down and I brush it from underneath, and this is what it is. Now, I started cutting my own hair at 15 years old, and I'm still doing it. So that's like over 50 years. And to this, for years working in salons, I didn't trust anybody else with my head. And it was so nerve-wracking for me to sit in somebody else's chair that I decided to save myself from the grief and just do it myself. And when I did it myself, at least it turned out kind of evenly weighted. When somebody else did it for me, it was always kind of uneven. So in the realm of self-help, not only have I worked on the inside of me, but I've worked on the outside of me. I've removed my own moles. That might be another video. I've done all kinds of procedures on myself. It's just how I'm wired. It's just the way I am. And for many, many years, I couldn't afford to go to doctors. So I was busy repairing or fixing or changing something that needed changing on my own, in keeping with tradition. And that which you know of me so far. So, let's see here. Okay, so when I was in the beauty business, which was decades and decades, because it started off as a hobby at 15, not just cutting my own hair, but the hair of my family members, my friends. And it was just a fun thing that I would do. A girlfriend, back when I was a bartender, we'd met that way, and we'd become friends. And she just had this rat's nest on her head. And I said, darling, would you consider letting me style your hair? Now, I didn't know. I had none of the technical tools back then to do this. But I had a real knack for cutting my own hair and having it turn out well. And wavy hair, by the way, you can get away with a lot. If I'd had straight hair, stick straight hair, there's no way I would have cut my own hair. I just knew better because every cut shows. With this, you can make mistakes and it's not apparent. So I started cutting my friend's hair, and God bless her. She said one day, Schreiby, because that's what she called me. A couple of my close friends called me Schreiby. She said, why don't you just go get a license? Because I was wanting to get out of the bar business at that time. I'd done some restaurant management and some bartending. And, that was fun for a while. Did that like 5 years. And was a paraprofessional in that arena. And then became a recognized paraprofessional standing behind a hair cutting chair. So you can see the trend here, right? She said, why don't you just go get a license? You're so talented at this. You're so gifted. And I said, oh, if I have to dye little old lady's hair blue all day long, I'll put a bullet in my brain. I mean, I just can't do it. I can't even think about doing it. So she goes out and she starts researching schools that are available. And she finds this little barber college out in the valley. At that time, it was on Lancashire Boulevard in LA. Well, the valley area. And she talks to the owner about me and tells him if you just let her do her thing, she'll be fine. And she enrolls me in this program at this barber college. And pays the down payment for the tuition. Now that's a real friend. And thanks to her, I figured out how to keep myself afloat for a lot of years. At least I had a means to keep the wolves from the door. I was never laughing all the way to the bank in that business. It wasn't important for me to. It was just a hobby that now I could get paid for. But I'm leading up to something. I'm leading up to teaching you ladies out there how to get maximum fullness in your hair because you're doing all the wrong things. Everything you're doing from the time you shampoo your hair and thereafter are counterproductive to fullness and body. So I'm going to teach you something here today. I'm just giving you the backdrop right now. Anyway, it was weeks before I called that school. Weeks. Oh man, I couldn't even imagine starting that process. But I learned how to do shaves with a straight razor and all that. And I learned how to cut hair, I guess in a professional way. And I learned how to cut straight hair. There's definitely a technique to it. And so that broadened my life experience a little bit. But during all the decades that I was doing this professionally, that I was cutting hair and styling hair for men and women, women would come in, sit down in my chair and go, I just can't get fullness. I just can't get body. Oh my God, no matter what I do, I can't get fullness. I can't get body. And I go, okay, wait a minute. Walk me through exactly what you do with your hair from the time you get in the shower and shampoo it. Walk me through everything you do, every step I want to hear about. And inevitably, everything they were doing to their hair was counterproductive for having any body or fullness. Everything they were doing. And there was a litany of stuff they were doing to their hair that prevented them from having any body, even women with straight hair. I've been teaching women about these principles for years. So I'm going to teach you about them today. Rule number 1, lose your conditioner. And maybe you're going, oh no, I couldn't do that. It's the only way I can get the tangles out of my hair. It's the tangles, my dear, that give you that volume. They give you that fullness. And besides, most of them drop out when the hair dries anyway. Another thing that women did wrong was they'd go combing or brushing through their damp or wet hair after they got out of the shower to get the tangles out. This is horrible. This is the worst thing you get. This is why you have split ends. This is why your hair breaks. Because a wet hair or a damp hair is very, very elastic. It will stretch about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, pulled end to end. You can experiment with this. Don't pull one out of your head. Pull one out of your brush or comb while it's still damp or wet. You can stretch it, okay? Well, a hair has only so much tensile strength before it breaks. Just like a rubber band. If you stretch it and stretch it and stretch it, it starts to fray and then eventually breaks. Well, your hair is the same way. Don't be doing that. They would tell me, well, okay, I shampoo my hair twice because that's what the bottle directions say. Of course, they want to sell more shampoo. One shampoo is plenty. That's all you need. Rub it into the scalp real well. Rinse it out really well. One shampoo is all. Because Americans were overly preoccupied with cleanliness. We carry it to an absurd extent sometimes. One shampoo. Work that scalp real good. Set it up. Clean it. Okay. And then they'd tell me, I put conditioner on. And I leave it on for a few minutes while I'm washing my armpits or whatever. And then I rinse that out. Conditioner makes the hair soft and limp. I have wavy, coarse hair. Even I don't use conditioner because it would deter fullness and body. It would make my waves and my curls kind of relax and make them soft and limp. You do not need conditioner. If you want to put conditioner on, don't put it on any higher than the last couple of inches of your hair if you really think you need it. But frankly, when you get out of the shower after you towel dry, a little baby oil, a little coconut oil is far, far better for those ends that you think are too dry than using a conditioner. Conditioner makes the hair soft and limp. So unless you have ultra, ultra curly hair, like my sister has these tiny little corkscrew curls on her head. When she dives into a swimming pool, the water never gets to her scalp even. The hair is so dense and so thick and so curly. It looks like a jerry curl. And that's her natural hair texture. I got lucky. As a child, I had stick straight hair. It wasn't until later I started developing waves. Unless you have really kinky, tight, curly, bushy hair and you want a smoother look, do not use conditioner. Lose your conditioner. It's making your hair soft and limp. There's no friggin' way on God's green planet you're gonna get fullness and body with conditioner in your hair. Thirdly, do not comb through wet or damp hair. Do not brush through it. Do not comb through it. The only reason your hairstylist does it is so that they can get an even cut. That's the only reason they do it. Do not do this at home. It pulls and stretches your hair. This is how hair gets broken and frayed, and you end up with split ends. Don't do it. Shampoo your hair. Get out of the shower. What I do is I wrap a towel around my head and I roll it up and I squeeze real hard to get most of the moisture out of that hair. And then I just rough it up and towel dry it. And then I might put a little castor oil treatment in it for gloss and shine. And so it isn't as fly away. Once it's gotten most of the moisture out of it and it's clear, so it doesn't make my white hair yellow. You have to be careful about that. Also, ladies who have silver hair like I do or white hair, you want to get yourself some Clairol Shimmer Lights shampoo. Sets up your hair. Leave it on a few minutes while you're washing the rest of your body. It's great stuff for pulling the yellowing deposits from the atmosphere out of your hair. Make sure you don't buy the conditioner. The bottles look very similar. Okay. And you don't need conditioner. Okay. What else? So now you have this towel dried hair, and maybe put a little coconut oil on the ends or work it through the hair a little bit. Not too much. Don't want to weight it down. And or baby oil. Use that too. A little gloss. But you gals with straight hair shouldn't be using stuff like that. Just wiry, wavy hair like mine. Okay? Again, this is a brushed out version. I look like Rosanna Dana here. Okay? Remember her? Saturday Night Live. um, so stop doing counterproductive things to your hair that rob you of body and fullness. Quit doing them. Just stop it. What are you going to do with all that conditioner? I don't know. Put it in your laundry. You use it as a fabric softener when you do a wash. I don't know, you know? So you towel dry your hair, you put a little oil in it, whatever. And if you have naturally wavy hair, just let it air dry. Or flip upside down and blow it with your blower. No brushing, no detangling, okay? Most of your tangles are going to fall out as the hair dries anyway. And besides, unless you're obsessed with brushing through your hair every minute of the day, those tangles aren't going to get in your way. What's the point of trying to get rid of all of them? There's no purpose to it. I never brush my hair except just before a shampoo. And I only wash my hair, by the way, at the most twice a week. Sometimes not that much, maybe once a week. Sometimes maybe not that much. Okay, so I want to talk to you about the pH of hair and skin. pH of hair and skin is about 4.5 on the pH scale. So it's more on the acid mantle of the pH scale. 7 is in the center, 4.5 is on the acid side of your pH scale. 7 and above is on the alkaline side of your pH scale. If you want to reacidify your hair, do a vinegar wash. That'll put the acid back in your hair, close down the hair cuticle, especially if you have colored hair, and make it shinier and glossier. And it protects it more. If you want to moisturize your hair, don't waste money on protein packs. Don't waste your money. Get yourself some regular mayonnaise, some full-fat mayonnaise, Best Foods or Hellmann's or whatever. Shampoo your hair, towel dry it, work the mayonnaise through the ends of your hair, like from an inch out. Put a plastic baggie on your head and sit with it for 45 minutes to 60 minutes. Your hair is going to feel amazing. What you want to do is you want to rinse it out real well after you do this mayonnaise pack. Really, really well. Now you're going to smell the mayonnaise on your hair. But once it dries, if you've rinsed it out really, really well, you won't smell that mayonnaise. Nobody will. I know this is hard to believe. I learned this from a client many years ago. If you have dry, unruly hair, you do a mayonnaise pack once a month because it'll last through a few different washings. You're going to feel like you have healthy hair again. It's the best possible thing. Why? Because mayonnaise is whipped and beaten so that the fat molecules, those oils and fats that are in mayonnaise, are broken down so small that they can actually penetrate your hair. Also, mayonnaise has egg in it, so that's protein. Mayonnaise has vinegar in it. Mayonnaise has lemon in it. And those are acidifying agents. Lemon and vinegar bring you back to a healthy acid mantle in your hair. Now, if you want to do a really light shampoo after you do a mayonnaise pack, that's your prerogative. I recommend against it. But if you really feel you have to, you can do that. I'm just giving you the secrets to having great hair. People stop me on the street my whole life. Oh my God, I love your hair. Oh my God, I love your hair. Well, I start turning white. 3 little white hairs just to the center of the left to the center of my hair when I was like 15. And the guy who was cutting my hair back then said, "Oh, you're lucky your hair's dark enough. You can barely find it now." He says, "Your hair is dark enough, it'll probably come in a nice silvery white." And it did. And in my 20s, in junior college, I had this little white streak in front, and people were always trying to pull them out. And I had to keep ducking, plucking hands, because I always liked being different. I always liked being unique. And this was one little manifestation that I had, that I was different from others. And I liked it. And then that turned into a solid streak in my 20s and into my 30s. And then it just kept spreading. And here I am today. And the good news is I'm easy to find in the dark. I'm kind of liking this longer hair. You see me with shorter hair in my videos. I'm kind of liking it full and longer again. Aren't you? I notice that when my hair is shorter, I tend to look kind of like a walking Q-tip. Caught myself in a bank camera one day from the back. I thought, I look like a friggin' walking giant Q-tip. Anyway, so these are hair tips. Now, for you gentlemen, the hair is also a frame for the face. Years ago, men started sawing off their sideburns. This happened while I was in the business. Sawing off their sideburns at the top of the ear. This was horrible. For many, many men, it threw their entire facial proportions off. It really threw them out of balance. Guys, if you have a wide face or a heavy face, you don't want to wear your hair on the sides really close. You just don't, because it accentuates this part. So somebody who's got some artistic savvy, like I did when I was working, is going to advise you against wearing your hair really tight on the sides, unless you have a really well-proportioned, balanced set of facial features. Don't do that. Don't saw your sideburns off at the top of your ear. Let them come down a little. This gives your facial features balance. I'm reminded of women who would come in and want to change their hairstyle all of a sudden. I mean, radically change it. And I never gave into that. What I do instead is I'd say to them, what's happening in your life right now? What's happening in your life right now? Are there any arenas in your life where you feel a little out of control? And this is the one thing you can control in your world, is to chop your hair off. And then probably regret it for the next 2.5 years till it gets back to its more flattering length. What's going on in your life right now? And most of the time I'd talk them out of changing their hairstyle. Or if a gal walked in, she had super long hair, halfway down her back, and it suited her. It was beautiful on her, and she had the bearing to carry it. She'd come in and say, I want to cut my hair up to my shoulders. I'd say, okay, here's the deal. I'd turn her around so her back was to the mirror on my station. And I'd have her hold a hand mirror, and I'd have her look at the back of herself as I held up her hair to that shoulder length. And I'd say, tell me what you see. Tell me what you notice. And they'd go, oh, wow, my shoulders look really broad. Or my hips look wider. Right. It threw their body proportions off. It brought attention to features on their body that actually accentuated those undesirable aspects. and or maybe they weren't undesirable. It just brought into sharp focus a feature that previously one wouldn't notice. So that's the way I worked. That's the way I worked as a stylist. I just taught people stuff. To me, every head of hair that I cut was a sculpture. I am an artist. I'm quite talented as an artist. But I've never earned my living with it. It's just been here and there an outlet for me, just like my writing was my whole adult life. I've always been a writer. And my website was constructed to get my ideas, my concepts, my writings out there to people. That's the only reason I put up that website. I got tired of getting rejection letters from magazine editors when I'd submit an article to them. So my website enabled me to cut out the middleman and only please myself with respect to how I talked about and presented these concepts that were unusual and unique. I'm glad that I have a good number of talents. I'm a good cook too. I'm glad that I have these. I'm so happy about that. I've been so blessed in this lifetime to have these talents and abilities. My goodness. Doing healing work was just, that was one little facet. But there's all this other stuff. I used to have a black thumb. I used to kill my plants. Now they're actually surviving and a lot of them are thriving. I've gotten better at that. So, ladies, this video is to teach you what not to do with your hair. Don't feed the cosmetic industry by buying conditioner. You don't need it. It's counterproductive for fullness. Don't be combing through or brushing through your hair when it's damp for any reason. What I have done is just flip upside down, hit my hair with a blower if I don't have time for it to air dry. It turns out full and fluffy, kind of like it looks right now. Have to be careful because heat straightens the hair. It's like going to Palm Springs or somewhere in the desert where you live, and the hot, dry heat tends to make hair flat. So you can tell how much humidity is in the air by how wavy and full my hair is. And the same holds true for you. So I'm hoping this has been educational for you today. I'm hoping you've had some fun here today in this, well, less than serious little self-help video. And I hope you have a marvelous Sunday, because I'm sure gonna. Bye for now.